Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Coming at you from London. Welcome. It's the Market Sniper, indeed, to be with you. Nice. And yep, got news for you. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That key trade that we've been talking about. Yep, it is here. We are live right now. By the way, help us get the algo confused and tell us, hit the dislike, hit the like, do something, bang a subscribe, hit a gong, jump on the bell, and do all of that. So we're here to talk you through a key triggering event that's happening right here, right now, that we've been speaking about. That's right. So on the stream, I'm busy sharing this on the socials. Get it out on the socials, and we will be putting this all to rest in clarity terms of what we anticipate is going to happen. So live right now. Let's just make sure. It said go live, didn't give me a chance to share the link. Every time YouTube changes it. Glad to be with you guys. It's a Monday, and yep, you had the long end of the debt going south most of the time, and now we are looking at Monday, and we are going up. So I'm going to share screen. Let's see if we can do this gainfully. At least I'm not upside down or on my side this time. Thank you, by the way, for quickly. Let's get that out the way, and let's share the charts. That's the community, by the way. We were prepping them. We were getting in long. Is this the right gold chart? I think it is. It's one of them anyway, so let's do that. Let's close that. In fact, it might have been that one. Let's do this one. So this is a key triggering event, friends. This is a key triggering event. We started on a 15-minute. I'm going to go back up to the daily. And by the way, this move is like when it's a bigger setup structure than this move. This was when we told you the 2000 has been broken. You will not see 2000 again. This is the beginning of a major move to the upside. Continuations, upside, continuations, upside, continuations. Are you seeing this? Yes. Tell me yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full. The 3K run, reaction, then peak, Trump, tariff, tantrum, rates up on the debt markets, valuations of the debt markets down, dollar down on increasing interest rates, gold goes from 2 nines to 3.5. Talk about a quick $600 right there. After such a surge move, another continuation setting up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full, sir. Are we ready? Are we ever ready? The HVF men, the men of the ministry, speaking God's word of truth unto the masses. Let it be behold unto ye. There shall be profits from those that destroy the sound monies to be made by those who like a bit of entertainment and non-advisory YouTubing about the possibilities of what we might be doing that you could ignore recognizing on a non-advisory basis that there is some shekels to be made. So many people say we can't afford your program. We can't afford your program. Yes, we haven't changed the price since 2017, and fiat's been devaluing, and you get payment options, and we give you free alpha here, and we're here to tell you, for those that can't afford the program, that even and I would never suggest as a non-advisory agent that you should do anything involving leverage, but should you end up doing so, you may well be able to afford a program. This is an entertainment channel, first and foremost. It is an HVF method discussing channel. This is your big picture, and we are looking at the 3,750. I will, of course, be keeping an eye on your comments. Please tell us what you think. I'm going to go in here. But the key thing is where we can help people buy the frauds, the cheats, the deceivers, the orchestrators of unsound money to impoverish you, where we can help prevent you from being destroyed financially, fiscally by the ultimate frauds, deceivers, and thieves, that we know who they be. We will do our damnedest to keep you in the game. And that is our modus operandi. And we do that for free to our YouTube friends, and we do it earlier, faster, sooner, on a more regular basis in an organized community that has some costs to run. In our premium section, hit the link below. But we're giving this one away for free because we've spoken about it before, and a key triggering event has just occurred. We're going to go from this long expanded view and stay on the daily for a little bit and tell you that the beautiful method known as HVF method, which stands for hunt yours truly, which is what we are doing. We're also hunting volatility-based compression. That's the V. And a funneling is, of course, the compression. It's kind of when you make a protein shake, it gets squeezed to fit into the bottle. Squeezy, Japanesey. We love it. And we've had our squeezy. And now you get the compression that generates a volatility-based breakout. That means fast-moving price behavior away from a tight stop. That is basically the elixir of smart trading. Being only in the market when you are sitting in a situation where you can get an asymmetric reward. That was the RRR that we gave you with how tight the stop was. And that is now pointing to 29. We've moved the target to 3,750. People in our program will know why. And we have a final triggering event and a final draw. You can see the volume is roughly running through the midpoint of our funnel. This is a very good structure. And we anticipate an outcome that will see you run through the $3,750 as part and parcel of indicating to you how much through the debt-based crash and the associated fiat crash that always happens with that, you have lost buying power in your local money. So by not jumping into the train that actually is increasing, you are the monkey sleeping on the greased pole falling into the crocodile pit. Now, my love for primates and monkeys is such that I would rather you didn't get eaten by a crocodile, and hence I suggest you do a bit of clambering and maybe get on a pole that has a natural elevator on it, so that while you sleep, you escalate away from the crocodiles into the great nirvana in the skies of wealth, health, and a beautiful life. So we're going to drop down to 12H, and we're going to show you how and why we are getting there. So this is half a day as opposed to the original daily. And what we are showing you is the key triggering event. Two bigger impulses. This is a broadening structure on the downside here. Another one there. In fact, we can take it even lower. Let's go to the 4-hourly. Let's dropping in, and show you this key triggering event. You can see that you are trading up very, very nicely. We really like the shooting star on this basing over here, and this look one way, go the other way candle. It gave us a natural maximizer for stop losses. So in fact, despite this risk reward trade with entries here that was occurring on that candle with a stop there, we actually added to trades real low on that rejection and actually have optimized an even tighter squeeze on certain entries that you can do. You're taking a bit of extra risk. You're not utilizing all the stop. If you'd had a flush out event one way before breaking the other way, it could have happened. But gold is a bigger market nowadays. You're talking about something 22, 23, going past 25, who knows how many trillion in the not too distant future. So to flush it out to the downside is a lot harder. So we could cheat a little bit less, slightly less volatility, because if you start pushing the price down on the paper, there's a group of people in China that say, I'll take it at that price and you can stand for delivery. And that suddenly becomes a problem for the flush out team because they then have to find gold real fast to deliver. So some of those tricks are less liable to occur. So this is a key triggering event, friends. And the first interim will be up here. And here's the good news. Rates go up is petrol for your trade, not a retardant. It's an accelerant, not a retardant. Why? Because rates aren't going up because of a strong economy. No, sir, 3 bags full. And all those awaiting rate cuts because it's tough out there. I'm real sorry. It's got nothing to do with you. It's got nothing to do with your pain. The pain will get worse because your central planners no longer have the bottomless overdraft. They no longer have the access to debt. This is something we've continued to assert to everybody else as when pivot. The Fed must cut. The economy is tight. The housing markets crashes. It's almost inevitable we get rate cuts. No. The game changed after 2020. This is why we said it was the most significant by reset aspects call that we have ever made. It's the end game. The 40-year bull market for bonds has ended. That means they no longer have the access to dip into an overdraft that they can keep spending and splurging to the same degree. There's not enough people to hold the other end. No, sir, there is not. So that is a key triggering event, and you're doing just dandy. Where was the first interim? Well, it's quite easy once you have a draw tool, which you would get if you're a community member, by the way. And you can see we're around 3,411. So you're already going to need to be well past the 3,411 mark before you could have your first rest. By the way, that doesn't mean you can't have a pullback all the way to funnel, and sometimes it can even dip. But in this environment, I'm not so sure you should be counting on that. I'm not so sure you should be counting on that at all. Also, let's get some of those draws. What else have we got for you? Platinum. Platinum. We've spoken a lot about platinum. Platinum is also in a setup trade, which is why we've been so confident about the precious metals complex, because we've seen bullish indicators across them all: silver, platinum, and of course gold being the primary, the god market. If you have the setup on gold, it's going to be moving. But you had setups also on PLAT. So let's get him in the equation as well. Platinum. And we'll put him on there. Let's just take capital.com. And here was an earlier setup. This one broke out a little earlier. There's the draw for you. Wait for it to redo. So we're looking for a run of 1,500 basically on a smaller setup here on platinum. So you had a nice triggering event that started earlier. By the way, I expect overperformance on that. This is not the top of the platinum market. Just because we give you a target doesn't mean it's the top. It means it may pause. Look at that second interim. You ran there. Gold hadn't yet broken yet. The king hadn't got up on its chair, and platinum had already started running into battle on his own. The king hadn't stood up yet to bring the troops. So you got a pullback, and then you sat and supported kind of on that first interim target, didn't you? And now you're getting real movements. Look at that candle. It opened there. It tested all the way down. Not on your life, sir. Return to whence you came and go further. And the king is now coming to back you up in battle. Time to charge. And so it is. And so it is. So I expect platinum to surpass that second interim level and to run that target level. It may have a small pullback, but I would expect further performance to the upside. We have bigger targets for platinum that we discuss inside the community. There is a link below. Book a call so that you can see how long we're going to be holding this and why. And at the end of all of this, which I don't think really ends, I think this could be a decade-long bull market for which you might only be in year 2. I actually think the platinum price will exceed gold, but that's not to diss gold. It's going to do just fabulously. Thank you very much. It's going to do just fabulously. So that's platinum short term, where you could take a little bit of temporary profits and look after yourself, maybe buy some precious metals, support us, use our partners. ITM trading for the US guys, below of course pure gold for the UK and other countries guys, unfortunately not Australia and America for pure gold. Delivery is becoming slightly more tricky, so have that call, but nonetheless it is still being shipped. Let's have a look at silver. Yes, how goeth the people's money? How goeth the people's money? So I will refer to your comments in a wee bit, but let's just have an opening salvo of all three precious metals, because if we have a triggering event in gold, where beeth the silver, the money of the people? Let us refer. All ye faithful that are gathered here today in the cathedral of HVF method and sound money and truth for the people, how standeth ye today? He say unto the brethren. You can see I'm feeling a little bit religious today. I found my place in the world in spirit. Yes, indeed. We're smiling. You're always smiling when you're winning. A little more sulky face when it doesn't go your way, hey? Yeah, anyway, over here, don't be too emotional about your trading, by the way. We're just having fun. Nice break here on silver. This target was run. So silver actually was in an even earlier than platinum on its upside, and ran and came back and is now rounded out. And despite, I think, gold being just triggering, silver had already slipped out and done a setup. Squeezy Japanesey over here. And yeah, I think it will also do swimmingly. Will the gold-silver ratio go down or up, though? Who's going to do more? Let's have a little look. Generally, as everyone expects, during the bullish phases, silver outperforms. The problem is if you suddenly have that demand-destroying event that I think they're probably queuing up for us sometime between August and November, with October being a super sexy month for these kinds of things. Let's have a little look on that. So we are skidding still to the downside, generally a good indicator of a bull market. Gold is doing well, silver is doing better. Generally a very good sign. However, we don't celebrate until we run these lows, and we are through the October period. There's going to be a debt-based crisis, guys. There is mathematically no way, and that's where I fear that everything that isn't nailed down gets sold, and that's when the volatility can return for pullbacks on silver, platinum, thinner markets, much easier to bully than on gold, and that's when you can sometimes see the central bankers will wade into gold. Everyone else has to sell everything else that they hold and own, and you can get that bump spike. Just a warning. It wasn't a prediction. It's just a warning. Be careful out there. But I am still a massive bull. And after, were that to happen, by the way, then it's the very best moment to pivot ostensibly into silver and platinum over gold, were that to happen. Because once we crash, then we go. So yeah, not too much to read here. Technically, it's been a pullback, but it's back into a very heavy range. So let's do a volume by price on that. Just for this entire era of the we bounced there, so let's do it since, in fact, when did we first hop onto the red line this cycle? Let's go from here. You see, we're still above the point of control where the bulk of trade has occurred. You could expect a little bit of resistance to further downside, support in this instance, obviously, on this chart. So we might get a bit of gold dominance now that its HVF has just triggered, and that could be central banks. And that tells you the debt bells should be ringing in your ears. Reserve assets, not anymore, not anymore. Your bonds is garbage. We have issued paper. Don't be trusting the paper and all. Ding, 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 ring-a-ling, ding, ding. Get out of your paper, man. Go buy the gold. That's what you'll find them saying. It's kind of going to be a little bit like that, I think. And that's when gold could have another surge. And the central banks are the big buyers, and they have the big money. And, of course, the hedge funds, and, of course, the very high net worth. So I'm not going to say that this goes straight line down and runs the 75. I think this is going to precipitate, and they will frame you petrock buyers for undermining the financial system. The EU have already had a headline under the fraud that is known as Agent Orange, Christine Lagarde, that actually wanted to be the next WEF chair for all we know, after they got that other you-know-what out. Anyway, despite all of that, she said the bubble in gold could undermine the stability in the financial system. So gold's the problem. Gold buyers are the problem. It's a bubble, which means it's going to burst. And their system is so stable, however, that a bunch of people buying a certain assets could topple it. So it sounds more like it's a house of straw to me. But nonetheless, that's the framing. That's how they speak. And that is what they're all about. Do not trust the criminals and their mealy-mouthed words, inversion, perversion in every way. So let's have a look at some of your comments and see how you are doing. I know someone will be in and saying, what about the miners? What about the miners? Yeah, let's just stop the screen share for a bit. Go with the metals first, guys. Equities and costs, etc. So someone likes Christine, Agent Orange, Lagarde, on guard. Say, Ray, how are you doing? Great, thanks. Met you yesterday. Great to see you, James. It was a lovely meetup that we had with many people. I'm real. Apparently, I'm a lot taller in the physical presence. You see, YouTube diminishes me. How dare they? The algo did it. How did they make me short? Okay. So yeah, that's one of the things everybody says. I am taller. Yes. I was born on a long weekend. Good day here from Perth, Australia. Yes, good day to the Perthians. Could you share your thoughts on the mining companies? I knew it. Someone would be there. Go the metals first, guys. Go the metals first. Stay the stage one. Yes, there will be miners. Yes, some of them have already started to move. Yes, in the end, they go more. But we need That's why that's demand destroying event of August through October is a key moment. And if we get that reversal possibility where we get a spike in the gold silver ratio, that will not be good for miners generally, and the metal will be the best. It's the volatility to the downside that kills you guys. Yes, you all want the biggest multiple to the upside, but if they're creating a calamity first, it's the volatility to the downside that shakes you out of your positions at a point that you most need money because they've zeroed your bank accounts, they've pulled some shame dangle, you're in Mark II, CV19, you're in some form of whatever, you're not going to survive. Don't jump the gun, for the good Lord's sakes. Let me not be blasphemous today here as we stand in the purple cathedral of truth. And we broadcast unto ye, the masses. Yeah. So, hey, Market Sniper, long-time listener, first live stream I've been able to catch. What's your thoughts on accumulating silver currently? Generally good because of unobtainium. Yes, generally good. Just make sure you have other cash and money so that you do not become a forced seller in a spike low, in an extreme circumstance when you need access to cash in an orchestrated false flag, probably based event that they're likely to pull on you in an environment where we are in a debt-based collapse. So yes, stack silver. And yes, I would take silver from you in payment for my services, and many others smart enough would too for services. But, know your local farmer, be able to buy meat, be able to pay for power, be able to get water. I prefer to be self-reliant on these things. And then you're likely to hold on to your silver through whatever they have planned for us for this August-October period. If you are forced out at the bottom, you will not get the upside, and it will be higher volatility to the downside. That's why having some of it in gold is actually volatility reducing, although not absolute return. Everybody thinks absolute return is the most important thing. No, staying in the game to get the return is the most important thing. And you need something that defends you on the bad days, not just the good days. Okay, so that's my personal opinion on a non-advisory basis. I could not get down yesterday. Problems with the chains from Scotland. It's a pity, Stephen. You're a regular, and we would have loved to have met you. You would have met lots of other nice people. But, maybe we'll be in Scotland sometime again. Why would August, October be doomsday incoming? So it's not that it's a voodoo month particularly, although a lot of things tend to happen August, September, October, and November is the follow-through. It doesn't typically start in November, but you have the contagion and a whole bunch else that goes on. You were in Liverpool. Yeah, it's a long way to London from Liverpool. I know and I understand. So at the moment, too many people have been pointing out that the bond rates are going up and it's been causing concern. So someone has asked, why do you think the 10-year is falling? Who knows? Rachel from accounts has probably sold Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's had a choppy old time. Note, Bitcoin dominance has turned for us, and it's now about the alts. Now, I want you to just think about this. This is all about gold and the precious metals, but I'm going to just seed a thought for you. Really old wallets from 2010 and 11 are moving, and it's on a blockchain where you can see it. And not just one of 80,000 BTC, but another, and are selling off Bitcoin at a time, and a government, a UK government, sitting on 5 billion of the stuff. Who knows that they've confiscated or come into owning through some nefarious, Pirate Bay dealers of some sort, are selling as well now. Really old wallets. And as buyers, you've got these copycat micro strategy companies being spurned that are all going to become super rich. We're just going to leverage up and borrow and buy the Bitcoin at the same time as these big legacy wallets that were there probably from the very beginning, that are probably part of Mossad, CIA, and various initial axes of creation, not Satoshi. By the way, I've said many times before, the Satoshi wallet will end up under the jurisdiction, I expect, of BlackRock, being treated as a bequest to fight climate change, inequality, DEI, and many other great, great causes. You do understand. You do understand, don't you? I expect at some point, because they'll start saying, look, he's probably dead. They've got right of seizure, by the way, on things that haven't moved a certain amount of time. And who, I wonder, will be seizing it? Go and have a look at that 80,000 Bitcoin, the messages they were putting, all the subtext. These are operators that absolutely know how the thing works. And they are moving, who knows, maybe a hack is about to happen. Bitcoin to be hacked. Oh dear, MicroStrategy bust, all the copycat business guys bust. I don't know. Bitcoin could survive, it could not survive, it could a lot of things. I prefer a little more security, like a gold coin in my hand or a tube of silvers. That's a lot safer, But anyway, people will tell you, decentralized, pristine collateral. The maxis will die on their swords. Yes, they shall. Sold your XRP at 5K profit, but back into XRP today. Yes, hedger looking good. Right of seizure is encoded into BTC. I don't own or trade any crypto. Yep, that's quite a bit interesting. So let's have a look at that UK debt. It is down today. So we're on a 12-hour for today. But let me just warn you, warnings. So we'll switch off the lights a little bit so we can calm this all down. Anybody who thinks that there's no chance of this, let's take that off. No chance of this going higher. Low volatility just before a surge. That's where you are. Squeezy, squeezy, Japanesey. Oh, so good. Oh, so fine. And then you got that structure in there. And you broke out to the upside and winding up. My expectation, out to the upside again. Yep, that's the 10-year. Don't forget, the UK likes a little bit of long-term as well. Have a look at how the 10-year varies from the 50. I'm going to leave those pink lines on. You see how much higher that is? So this is the longer term. Look at that. You've already broken. You say, how dare he guess that something that looks like a rising wedge could break out the top? Well, first of all, it's not a rising wedge. It's this part certainly isn't. That is. But look at that. It's already higher. So the long end is already showing you where the less long end is likely to go. Okay. The boss. All that big debt. And you know what's happening? They're shorting their duration. Why? Because it's cheaper on the short end. You see that? That's 4.8 on the 50-year. What was the price on the 10? Whoops, not the 120. I would hope they don't have 120s, but who knows by now. So you'll see 4.6 on the 10-year. Now you do an 01. So 4.8 on the 50-year, you see, 3.76. So the governments who can't afford the interest payments, where do you think they're borrowing? You guessed it, on the lower price they're borrowing. Must give money to Israel. Must put fighters and bombers in Cyprus and shoot down missiles for Israel. Must send money to Ukraine. Russia, very bad. Russia, very bad. Very, very bad. We need conscription. We must go to war with Russia. Yes, yes. Great idea, I think. Yes, yes. Oh. No, no. But anyway, so you're at 3.76 on the 1 year and 2 year. 3.86. So you can see they are moving, they're borrowing onto the short term. But here's the catch. When you shorten your duration, this is what they're doing. And I gave the example of, imagine your mortgage rates became higher than your credit card rates. Imagine you move your 30-year mortgage with hundreds of thousands of it onto 20 credit cards that you're revolving because the rate is cheaper. How do you think your financial world is going? Broadly, I mean, as a comment idea, without getting too technocratic, you move the duration of what you own from a 30-year because it's got kind of expensive. You've been doing a little too much borrowing, but on the short term, it hasn't yet got up. So we've got the yield curve is steepening. The longer you go out by duration, the higher the rate. Oh dear, don't like to pay big interest bills. Let's borrow for less, and then we have to keep rolling it because it keeps expiring real soon and keep rolling it. So now you're actually moving a collapsing long end to the midterm, to the mid-short, to the short end. What do you think happens on the rates on the short end? A lot of that borrowing coming out, and it ain't getting any cheaper. and starting to move here. Hey, please buy this more, buy more. Suddenly, people on the short end want a better yield too, don't they? And you start to see grassroots rates climbing across the entire duration. And how does that work out then for you? And you keep adding ever greater debt in a parabola, and you're putting it on short, and the rolling is coming much faster, and you're now like a hamster on a wheel. Quick, put it out, roll. Doesn't end well. And what moves up? The opportunity is gold. And that is why we started the stream, and that's why we find ourselves back on the gold chart. Oh, it's already left my screen view. Don't you like it when you get a green bar and you come back to a chart and it's like somewhere above? Please reframe your chart. We have moved upwards in the interim. We're talking minutes since we streamed. Okay. How are you guys doing? Let's have a look at some of the comments, by the way. Go back to the comments on the live stream. Yep. Oh, I wasn't sharing screen. Damn, such a mug. Let's go back and do that quickly again. Let's just go make sure I get the right chart. Not that one. Let's go back. Did I not show the gold silver ratio as well? I'm hoping I did. Apologies for that, guy. Let's go back to show screen. Too many buttons, too much flow. A stupid boy does make. So let's share that screen again. That's your triggering event. That's your break. That's your gold. We did have a look at the gold silver ratio. Did we? Yes, it was here. I hope I showed it. And I was also highlighting the point of control on a volume by price. Since you broke up above meaningfully way back in 14, above the 65 level, despite getting a lot of action in the lower end in the beginning, actually you can see by duration we have bunched up and clumped it right the way up, and point of control is in and around the 84, which we are slowing our descent towards. So just beware, a debt-based collapse. Not good for your banking system, guys. You have too much money in the banking system. Hear me now. You have too much money in the banking system. It's an opinion. It's not an advice. It's an opinion. Whoever you are, I don't even know how much you have in the banking system. But however much you have, it's too much, okay? In short, we are in reset times, and the debt-based collapse is also a fiat-based collapse, which means a cost of living mega shoot. And inside of all of that, you're likely to have banking collapse and contagion, which could lead to the reset moment we've spoken of, coming very, very fast at us all. What are the questions? So let's go back. I went back for questions and I realized I wasn't showing. Tell me I showed you the platinum charts. Let's just check the comments. Did you see the platinum? Let's cover it one more time. I think I did. Platinum. So platinum absolutely spiking. By the way, this is the weekly platinum. This was a call we gave. Again, we gave first to our community. They got in early. They got a little washout like me on this dip here. Yep, it happens. We tell you how it happens, guys. That is a thinner market, and they can wash you out. They washed me out on stops that were along the tweezer bottom there, perfectly at the low, and I ended up buying back in, eating my loss, belligerence. But it is all paid for now. That's your weekly setup. And by the way, that's literally a straight line up almost, despite running your second interim. And you are now in, I think it's the 4 hour, let's go 2 hour, this structure. So again, I show it to you to recap, just in case I was being a stupid fool, which is very much possible in terms of all things YouTube. So that's the short-term target, 1500. It's 1496. But as we say, much more to come. In fact, silver and platinum broke before gold, which tells you the peripheral metals are super, super thin and desperately needed. And they've been breaking early. So platinum broke its HVF on the 16th of July, which is why we've been waiting for the king to get up and call for his horse and join platinum and silver in the battle. 16th of July. If we talk about silver and gold. Its break, again, utilizing the wonderful HVF method, broke even sooner. So credit to silver, it was the first of the bunch. I think we have it here. It's a bit of an ugly setup, this one. It had a bit of a break and a pullback. In fact, if we go back to the very first draw, that was our very first draw. It just had a wind up on there. That was our very first draw. And that target was run. We sometimes cluster that. And that would be your final target. And you are now moving up. Silver is following gold. Silver, my friends, is following gold. And quite a harsh pullback after running target, but support at the second interim. Hammer wicks, showing a base. We re-added here. Up, a little bit of a sell-off, and it got a bit soft there. But gold is now marching. That means they all go forward. And that's a great, beautiful, amazing thing, friends. It's a great, beautiful, amazing thing. So that is the British debt situation. And we are showing you that governments, not just the United Kingdom, although we're focusing on the United Kingdom at the moment because the British are up. I'm not sure if our American friends are up. Are any Americans in the room? Are Asian friends still up? The Aussies are in the room. We had a man from Perth. Let's talk US. ROCK in the USA. Do you remember John Cougar Mellencamp? A little bit of Cougar was just fine back in those old days. Giving my age away there. So again, trading slightly down the debt, but gold don't care. It's breaking out. Imagine what happens when these things turn and start breaking out to the upside. It's a long end collapse. This is what drove me so kind of antagonistic and a little bit, I don't like to be too aggressive, but what was Schneider and Gammon talking about? What was Schneider saying? That it's a little bit up, but it's in a range trading. How do you get to that? How do you get to this not being rates are walking their way upside across the curve? How do you look at all these different charts and come to the conclusion it's all just a range trade? Just because it's been a slighter, bigger continuation pattern? No, there is a real issue and it's global. And let's just handle the Europeans as well. I know there's slightly less of you, but if we were to go DE, this is the rainmaker nation that the Euro project was built around. And this is a continuation pattern. I'm going to log scale this now. I'm already in log scale. Then I delog it. Let's reframe it. Is that a range trade, or are you squeezing out the top? You've only once been this high before, guys. You've only once been this high before. This is Germany, the industrial production backbone of Europe. Look at that. By the way, don't forget, click the link below. He's a real guy. He's taller than he looks. He'll look down on you only through geometry, though. Never through any kind of snootiness. So that's your high point. 3.26. High point there. 3.26 and just a mild pullback. This thing was close to breaking out, guys. Continuation pattern there, breakout. Macro continuation pattern here has broken out. Primer continuation there has broken out. Let's just be clear. Which direction did it break out? These three little things that I'm observing, both cases up there. In this case, up, doing a return move now. Which way should you expect it to go? I mean, just asking the questions, yeah? I'm sharing an opinion on balance of probabilities. We're talking about possibilities and probabilities. On balance of probabilities, it goes higher. And by the way, those ascending structures, they break out to the upside often too, you know. So be careful about calling. Rising wedges means some smackdown. So this is going to get disorderly. This is the fulcrum of the best quality of debt. You know, you only go downwards from here. The French are already at a new high. Let's be clear. Last week, French money traded at a new high on their 30-year. Can you see that with me? Higher than a spike that sold off brutally. They rewound up, they broke up to the upside, and they traded to a new high. How much do I care that for now, this day is slightly down? Talk to me at the end of the week. Talk to me at the end of the month. Let's talk in 3 months' time. Debt-based crisis, friends. Debt-based crisis is here. That's how it's looking. All the breaks are to the upside. This is Monday. You've got half a day's data. We'll see how long that lasts while the gold price is going. Do you see why I covered European rates? Shall we go to our favorite nation, that of the squeezy Japanesey? JP30. You made and actually exceeded your post. And when last was Japan at that rate? Wow, we've got to do this monthly. You know, I haven't got enough history. You know, you're talking pre-07 here. You're talking pre-07 that you were at, you know, a whole, but with decades. That's 20 years ago, and you're not even close. You're not even close. You know, you're maybe, I wish I had a chart with more data, but you're quite possibly, you know, you're quite possibly in the 90s somewhere there. And it was last week you made that new high. Yep. And we were telling you about HVFs to the upside. Yeah, that's right. The problem is we're too early. We're almost too good. We are the Cassandras. No one listens. No one follows the channel. The algo don't like me. Me bad. Hit the like button right now to say, Francie, not bad. Francie, not bad button. Hit it. Upside, we called that, and nobody's like, dude, why are you covering debt markets in Japan? Nobody's watching your videos. I said, I don't care. It's important. The smart will. I tell you what's important. People are stupid. If Ford asked and did, what do people want? They would have said a faster horse. That's what they would have said. You need a car. You need a car. I'm telling you, you needed a car. You needed to know that this was going higher. This was the call. And by the way, we drew these inverteds long time ago. It said it's going to go lower when many people said it couldn't go lower too. The plight of a macro technical analyst in a world where there are none. We have to be the best because we are the only one. You can put a dunce cap on me and spin me around and turn me upside down so I don't know my ass from my elbow and I'm still winning. There's nobody out there on macro technical analysts that makes calls that seem absurd. I don't give two monkeys, really. That's why I'm prepared to be wrong, badly wrong. But that's why we also get a shot at being violently right and early, which allows you to benefit immensely. Okay, that's the debt markets, friends. You finished last week, in many cases, at near to all-time highs for the last 30 years in Japan's case. How do you think that ends? Japan's going to be doing what the UK is doing, that's doing what the Americans are doing. It's like, ooh, a bit expensive. Let's rather go to the lower time frames. Let's have a look. We did it for America. We did it for the UK. Let's have a look. Japan 2-year. You see that? 0.77. Do you want to borrow at 0.77 or 3 something? It's kind of, and we also talked about this, the funneling and the breakout, the W bottom, even on the low end, because once we started looking, we couldn't stop looking. We go, wow, this is about a reverse and change. Nobody cares what I'm saying, but they will soon. That's my world. Welcome to my world. They will soon. A debt-based collapse. Oh, dearie me. Here we come. It's not a debt-based collapse. It's a range trading interest rate. It's in the range. It's a little bit up, but they'll cut soon. It'll go down. Yeah. Oh, dearie me. Oh, it's funny. We got to laugh for want of crying, my friends. We got to laugh for want of crying. That's it. The criminals have been criminals. You see, this is what we were saying yesterday at the chat. Known liars lie. It's kind of, that should be your default assumption. Known criminality does criminal things. So, fraud, people that commit fraud are fraudulent. Le garde, en garde, agent orange. Because a criminal. She's a fraud. That's what they do. They get fraudulent people that should probably go to jail for what they do. And they say, you don't have to go to jail. We'll give you a job and we'll pay you a lot of money. But you do just like we tell you. Otherwise, media turns on you and you end up in a court and you're found guilty and you end up in jail for fraud. How about that? They love hiring criminals and every kind of criminal. That's what they do. So that's your short term. Where do you think they're borrowing now? It's cheaper. But what's that cheaper short-term Japanese rate really doing? It's becoming uncheap kind of quick, isn't it now? Uncheap, kind of quick. You were here, sub-zero. You are now here, 0.77. And you're yet to have the parabola, by the way. This is a reversal, guys. This is a long-term reversal in the debt markets that we called would change. There was your funneling event. That was typically the cranky kind of upside HVF you get. You got a bit of chop and volatility, and since then you've been trading uppity, 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 up. It doesn't end well. Debt-based crisis. They are running out of lives. They are running to the short end. They will spend their whole days rolling debt that they've put out on short term all the time, whilst creating new debt that also has to go on the short end. And then you are going to see that short end move. You think Japan is not a case study of how it can move from next to nothing to 0.75% in no time? Watch how it's still to move as they drop that debt in there. Who wants a pair of pink Crocs? Now selling, got 1 million pairs. Buy while stocks last. Oh dear, the pink Croc debt market. So let's see what you guys are saying. Are you enjoying the stream? You got to laugh for want of crying, friends. You got to laugh and you got to protect yourself and you got to get wealthier during this process. By the way, are there any guys that were meeting up with us yesterday in the room? We had a few. Gold is honest, IOUs are lies. Correct, Jack Goldman. How many Market Sniper team members here at the moment? I'm not sure. Declare yourself. Melbourne, Australia, checking in. Well done, Melbourne. Keep stacking, friends. Stephen Young had an interesting chat with a bullion broker the other day who was visiting his holiday home and over in the Cayman Islands. Basically, they are going in heavy on physical gold. They know, and they know. The ones that know. 54 years of kicking the can down the road. Indeed, sir. The one telling the truth needs a fast horse. So all power to you. I do. Thank you. Send me your quickest horse. Me from Texas. Well done, America's in the room. Francis, can you explain what's to come in a video? I thought I was doing that a little bit, but yeah, I'll keep trying. Will the Genius Act stablecoins affect gold and silver prices if they are funneled into holding treasuries? So they are going to need the amount. So I think it was at 14th as a buyer, treasury coins. It's going to stable coins. It's going to get more. 1,013 on you. That is absolutely amazing. Glad to be here entertaining you. Gold has triggered. This is a key point for those of you that say, I don't have funds to make more money and join your community. You've got a trade here, which without a massive account size will see you right and some potentially. And if you don't have sufficient funds to trade, don't trade. Not an advisory as ever, but glad to have you. And we have 439 likes. That means 43.9% are appreciative of me coming out to tell you a key moment just occurred on gold and that there's real upside for you in a fast-moving breakout to be made and build your wealth. So if you do appreciate that, please massage the thumb. Massage the thumb. Fool the Google algo who no likey the sniper. Oh, maybe it's not that bad. I don't know. If Trump revalues gold on July 4th next year, what happens to the USD and CAD? Any upvaluation of precious metals is an immediate admittal that fiat has been debased relative to the precious metal. It's quite simple. It's mathematics. If they wake up and say, gold is now $25,000 in dollars, what they've actually said is the free market hasn't adjusted fast enough for the fact and the rate that we've been debasing your currency. So we're going to help the market, the price discovery mechanism, which is trending strongly in that direction, by instantly moving it to that point so that everybody can realize that their currency has been fully debased. And what used to cost $20 and then $35 now costs $25,000. So now you know. We've been destroying your currency, and we did it by borrowing money into existence. Hence why the debt market is going down along with your currency. The two die together. They are the Siamese twins of the spawn of Satan. In terms of the sound money. I'm getting biblical today. It must be Biblical Monday. Maybe I missed my Sunday. Let's have a green juice sip. 1046 of you. Squeezy. What's happening in Georgia, Francis? Everything fine. So I have a contact there and I say, scary headline, Georgia. And he goes, brr. That's what happens. Georgia is walking a line whereby they tolerate NATO's attempts to coerce them, but are not interested in becoming a military point against the Russians. And we have men on the ground. But Francis, is it possible the government can debase my trust faster than my wallet? Listen, it depends what's in your wallet. If your wallet is fiat, you're definitely getting debased, and the government will be set out to make you a poor man. That's their goal. They've waged financial and fiscal war against you, and they're successfully impoverishing you. If you happen to have gold coins in your wallet, which I doubt, because you wouldn't use wallet, you would have a Kingsley medieval purse which clinks. I kind of like one of those. I think I should have one of those as well instead. It's kind of like a scrotum of pure metal. How about that? That we should be clunking them down on the table and say, how's your day, love? That's how you should be carrying your shekels. But anyway, so go. So if you've got fiat in your wallet, it's definitely been debased and you're watching it. The buying power is disappearing. Much respect for speaking truth. Silver rules. Hello from Vancouver. That's quite far east. So you must be an early bird for the Canuckians. Francis on fire. According to this chap, when the economy is going down, all of the paper gold will be ripped up and thus creating a gold shortage and a massive price hike. Yeah, potentially, we've heard of all of these possible narratives, and you should turn paper profits into physically held investment. You win in the end with investment and physically held. So even if you make trading profits today, and over the course of the next few weeks, while we run the 3750 on balance of probability, a forecast from an unregulated non-advisor, if that happens, don't get fat in a trading account too fat. Tax down to your base pyramid level, which should be foundational physical investment. And that way, when they do a grid down, they destroy banks. Brokers are going to be busted by banks too, if that's what happens. The whole system, counterparty risk will contagion everywhere. So if I say you're too fat in your bank accounts, you're probably at the end of all these trades going to be too fat in your brokerage accounts and need to get them into your bank accounts and into your physical holdings, because that, my friends, is your true balance sheet. Your true balance sheet is right there. How long do you anticipate the metal bull market to run? A decade in normal environments historically. However, this one, I do feel, is not going to be like any others. So history rhymes, it's never exactly the same. So the synchronized contagion globally is so huge and so vast that I think the move comes more violently and quicker, and then they do a stopgap, and that's it. We're done. This isn't going to happen. New world order. Here's your UBI shekels. They don't, they stop the clock. No more trading, and then they decrease something, which could be the revaluation moment. But they need that problem, and they need your reaction, and they need you desperate so that you'll sign on to whatever solution they bring. And we are, unfortunately, I'm preparing mentally for that obstacle course of problem, reaction, solution. I don't wish it that way, It's my suspicion that it is that way. And as a result, what you don't hold, you don't own. And you need to be not in a situation where you're forced to give up that which you hold just to eat, drink, have power and water. So if you can breathe, so far they haven't managed to tax the oxygen yet. If you can eat and you can maintain security, you're going to be fine. You won't lose your metals. Don't get flushed out at the bottom in a crisis that they create. Make sure you think about these other things. Scrotum of pure metal. That's right. That's what I mean by having balls, golden balls. What do you say to that, Lovey? Do you prefer it that way? Shame I had to leave before the Q&A ended. No chance to make contacts. That's all right. It was glad to have you there. Irish Luck, do you think the shit will hit the fan before the end of this year? So it probably my primary scenario. As I say, I'm not a clairvoyant, and I don't have a crystal ball. But it is the season for chop, and things are deeply disorderly and not running great at the moment on that long end of the debt market. Delighted that more of you are coming on and enjoying the fact that gold is a triggering event for 3,750, 11,104 of you coming on, 526 say thank you for being live to tell us that a triggering event on gold has occurred. To that half, I am doubly grateful for your attention. It's about the war and wanting to leave the place you are in, says somebody. Russia launching gold exchange. That's other aspects of real threat. What if different price discovery exchanges discover a different price? Could be interesting. And I don't think they'll be discovering lower prices. You may not be able to take all that metal with you. So we talked in our community meetup, which also involved YouTube subscribers who are totally entitled to bring a friend. There was no cost or charge. You bought your own beer and had your own food, and you asked me. I stayed 7 hours. I was there at 11:30. I left at 6:30. I gave everything I had. I answered every question. We had some fine ladies in the house. I've always loved to see women taking control as well of their financial outcome. Some came with husbands, some came alone. So we love them all. And we discussed everything. And one of the points was, what do you do if you change country and you already are stacking in one country? And we handled that. And there are a number of things you can do. In fact, I'll probably be enabling one community member to sell his precious metals to another community member. I'll be discussing that in the community inside the country, and he will reacquire elsewhere. Plus, we discussed other solutions such as the crypto gold item that can be a transmission mechanism. So you sell off locally, you buy precious metals in, there's Kinesis, there's the Pax Gold, and then once you relocated to the place you wish to see reset out in, you sell that and you reacquire in the new place. Trying to cross borders is questionable legally, and this channel will never advise you to do anything illegal. Although I will point out there is a massive chasm growing between legality and morality. Please recognize that. However, despite this, we will feign respect for the legal system and never suggest anybody does anything illegal. My gold is all heavy chains and bracelets. That's not a bad thing. Try get really, really. Here's a thought. Just on if you're doing jewelry for gold, because I've also, to cross borders with jewelry, it's much easier than crossing with bars. There's also a certain minimum, there's a certain maximum you can carry on you. You know, the Indian meme with the guy with the gold plated shirt, that's not quite going to work, is it, crossing borders? But I'd even suggest to you that if you're going to do jewelry, platinum is better. It doesn't shine yellow and look more of a theft thing. It looks more like silver, only it's harder, denser, doesn't tarnish, and won't scratch more, will scratch much less than gold, and silver is less known, and in my opinion has higher upside. And you can get platinum, you know, jewelry made for you, or you might even be able to, in specialist places, be able to buy it. So just bear that one in mind, and it's a little bit less obvious. It doesn't look as special. It actually is very special. It's uniquely special, more so than gold. in jewelry, platinum harder to move. In jewelry, crossing a border, I think it will be less picked up as gold. So what else can I show you market-wise? Let's go back and check on the reason we are here. And let's be smart and actually share the screen first. You will have tunneling for a while. Let's make sure, was it this gold chart? There we are. So that is the triggering event, friends. We are on a funnel. That's our squeezy. This is where the range that was defined by our high 3 and our low 3. You were in a channel here. You were staircasing. It's really strong. It really is strong. Last night we looked at these two hammers and we took in there when supersized. This is what I did. I'm a little bit cheeky sometimes when I'm high confident and put a size on there with a stop loss I felt I could afford. That is a real squeeze on our full range stop. I'd already done similar things here. And that I've been lucky that it stuck. I was a bit concerned this channel might, when we were here, might break this down and have another turnaround. We could get delayed one more time because this setup has taken its time in squaring up. But no, this is a very clear and definitive break. And it's run all the way from, let's take a mark from it. It's run all the way from, let's get that, it really started to get impulsive. So the bottom memory hole there, 3362, but the candle where it really started trotting, the low was 3365. And then boom, you're at 3388. So you've picked up quite a few dollars. But the key point is you've actually taken out localized highs, which included a spike high that got slammed. That's a big problem for somebody. Just think about this for a minute, guys. And we've got a large amount of you on here, and thank you for coming on and hit the like button. We appreciate that. If you were the guy that slammed that market because you didn't like this move that started down here at 3337 and trotted very quickly up by $40, and you slammed it all down, and let's think derivative contracts, selling, and all of that. How are those people that sold that wick successfully down, if they didn't close those trades, how are they faring now with these wicks here? There's no one with the power to slam this now. That's what's happened. Note how you bounced on our splitter in our channel. This is a very strong channel. I thought it might break out to the upside, but I also had I thought it was pretty much a 50-50. There was also a risk of breaking out to the downside and taking a little bit longer in the funnel. Look at that midpoint. That came down, two small hammers on our midpoint, bouncing on the splitter. That I had to take that trade. I just put insane size and said, go on, take that amount of money. Been real lucky. That little entry there with a super tight stop has already paid for itself. But I could have eaten red there and the setup still could have been right, you know. Could have wound up one more time and then come around. So that's just lucky on entries. By the way, that was the entries down here that we were putting on with the original stop here. This doesn't look like it's coming back. It doesn't look like it's coming back. The time frame that we're viewing it on daily, again, I'll never tire of seeing this. By the way, a bigger structure, for those of you that missed the beginning of the stream, last time we gave an HVF call was the low traded here was 2011. And this was the classic once, twice, three times, fourth time a lady, as Lionel Richie was known to say once. This was the last time you're seeing 2K. That was our call. And since then you did that. Continuation. We traded a lot of these continuations as well, ran the target of 3,000, slapped down, then Trump tariff tantrum, blow off move. That was very fast and very violent, and hence why you end up now in this holding pattern that is now triggering and will, in our opinion, run that. You could trot on from that, by the way. It depends where we go on the debt-based crisis, but I would certainly take some profits at the 3,750, but I'd leave some on for overperformance potentially. You could charge, if we were really lucky, you could charge through the 4K. Remember that. 2K, we were talking about last year, was it November 24? I was discussing it, and I normally have a robotic brain for dates. on trade breakouts. February 24. I said November. It was February 24. There you go. I stand corrected to that community member stroke YouTube follower we were discussing. It might have even been Ollie. It was November 23 that it was beginning to form. The break was February 24. February 24, you were sitting at 2,000. Now here you are sitting with me, and it won't take chronic overperformance, and you're at the doorstep of 4,000. It's not bad, guys. February 24, triggered, that setup on this channel. Go and look at the YouTube. It's still there, and I'm here to tell you again. And this is sound money. Sound money in a world of lies. This is the one beacon of truth in an illumination in a dark world. You know, this is truth right here. You're staring at him. Staring at him. And they know it. The criminals know it, the frauds know it, and they will even have to use it themselves, because they all know their little Ponzi-onomics that they've inflicted on all of you is coming to an end. That's the facts. That's where we stand right here, right now. Ponzi-onomics is coming to an end. 3,750 on the upside. Let's stop sharing screen and go and see a final wrap with you. By the way, don't forget, link is below. We do all this and more. You could be getting in sooner, tighter stops with our community. It's not just gold we trade. It's not just silver. It's not just platinum. There's opportunities, and we will be in them again. We don't broadcast every single one, I'm afraid. Sorry, I've got to serve other people, and I do other things with my time, most of it around our business. Sailor, well, yeah, someone bringing up Sailor again. As I mentioned on Bitcoin, big wallets unloading into a whole bunch of copycat, Me Too micro-strategy corporations. Yeah, look, I'll take the 150K run, which I think you'll probably get, but it's not my hodl. It's not my hold into crisis. Precious metals. What's silver? Yes, silver is going to do famously. We are mega bullish, all of them. And silver, we've said, at the end of this all, gets a single digit to gold, in my opinion. It won't necessarily be for long, but we get, on the gold-silver ratio, we get sub 10. I think that can happen. And I would say almost 30 and below is almost to be assured. Harry Dent said gold was going to go down to 900 an ounce. Oh dear, Harry. You really shouldn't do that, Harry. Tut, 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 he says. That's correct, Andy Maskill. Platinum for me, less conspicuous for jewelry, and ends up more valuable. But it's not as tradable as well. Silver at 38.64. I didn't show you the silver chart. Let's put that on, because all will respond now. There's correlations here that have to be. Oh, and it's trotting on nicely, silver. So let's do the share. Are we sharing screen? You can't ask me to walk and chew gum at the same time, guys. I've got to be so careful about this. I'll sit here chatting to myself and not sharing the screen if I'm not careful. So we put that away. That's your silver. It's going to make a new high this side of the CV19 events, not far off. It could even be today. This is a 12-hour chart. You've got the American session to really get going, still to come. And you're at the beginning of the week. You've got 4 more days. 4 more days of watching that debt situation. What should I do? Don't hold. It's going down. Where do I go? The thing that never goes away, that never charges you interest, that you can throw under your bed and will still weigh the same in 10 years' time and still be made of the same molecules in 10 years' time. Is, you know, the consistency of that, the persistency of it, the purity, the scarcity, it's still there. It never went away. That's how it works. 38.86. So that's a nice little handle, rounded bottom. We do make comments about rounded bottoms more than we should. We do love a rounded bottom, and there she turns up, 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 and away. And I would say this week you see that last week's high taken, which by the way was 39.13. You are at 38.83, 17 cents away from the 39 mark, and I see that as very, very good. And we take you into platinum one more time, and we show you that. And that is doing very much the same thing, very much the same thing, and has been the biggest ripper. So some people say, why do you say platinum possibly could do more than silver? Silver's a lower price, etc., etc. Listen, you're winning anyway on all three. I'm a massive fan of all three. It's about degrees now. But if you want me to do that exercise, I'll do it with you. So let's do this on a chart together. Okay, sip of green juice. Popeye needs his spinach. Okay, so we will go to a monthly chart, and I need one with a long history of platinum. That's the move of platinum, by the way, on the weekly. We don't want that. Capital.com. We can do a whole bunch better. I think it's TVC. Okay, so here's our plats. And I want to do 3 months. I'm going to do a quarter chart. So I'm actually setting this to a quarterly chart. Let's do this together, and you can either agree or disagree. This is a fun thing to be doing. You know, you're talking about, okay. So we'll switch that off, the lights. So here am I going. The main chart is platinum, okay? So let's take 1972 right there, and I'm going to add on here. So that's how silver has performed relative to platinum. It's actually off the chart. It's significantly overperformed platinum. However, you can see platinum has also, on occasion, outperformed silver. This entire period, platinum was dragged down by palladium. So it's my overall estimation that platinum is coming from a lower base than silver, if I put platinum in there. In fact, I shouldn't do platinum as the chart because you can't actually see by how much silver has overperformed. Now, some of you will think, well, if it's overperformed, I should be in the overperformer. Well, there was artificial aspects that crushed platinum, such as the substitution with palladium and the green agenda hoax. So let's change the chart to silver, and you'll see how much less platinum has performed. So there's our silver, beautiful, ascending HVF plus cup and handle. No matter how you want to draw it, it's there. Now I'm going to add, we need to remove silver on silver, because obviously that's the same chart. And we'll go, instead of that, go XPT USD. No, let's write the word platinum. It gets us the longer chart. US dollar OSG. That is where platinum is. In terms of this, and it was absolutely busted here. From roughly 2007 and 8, it was crushed. You can argue, if you just took the history from here, platinum has been coming and was an outperformer and likely to outperform up until 2007-8. And it's a very thin market, and it's South Africa and Russia controlled. And of course, they're getting loans from the World Bank, you know, corruption loans for government members. So who knows what they signed away with that. And Zelensky, and that's a true article, bought a controlling stake in one of South Africa's biggest platinum. That's how I knew we were going to be on a good thing. But anyway, yeah. So that period has been pure distortion for platinum. If you are to get price discovery in this market, I think this will come back to that part where it was starting to overperform even silver in percentage terms. Scarcity doesn't quite cover it. We can put gold on there as well, so we can stack this chart out. It's an opinion. It may not be right. I've got both. I'm happy, you know. Gold wins, silver wins over platinum. I'm happy. Now, gold, of course, off the charts relatively, because the central bankers start there. And you'll also note the reason, and one of the key things why I say you should hold gold, less downside in the bad times. Now, we're not going to be in the bad times. You're all thinking the overperformance bit. That's why you will be thinking silver and platinum, and I agree. But in between the times, its corrections were much less violent than silver and even platinum. But again, this platinum period, I'm calling hoax. And I think you're going to go back to the 1970s up to 2008 type platinum market, which actually has this period of platinum being an incredibly strong move. Very, very strong indeed. And that's, so who's come from the lows? Let's throw on copper here as a semi-precious metal, because people are getting excited about copper. And yes, it's all these things will go up, but there's degrees. That's copper. Bear in mind, it's not starting from the same base point as platinum. But I see this move as a more violent reaction. I'm seeing the silver move as a more violent reaction, and I'm seeing the gold move. Again, if we wanted to see gold properly, I could make the chart gold and everything else underperforms it, and we can see by how much. So let's do that again. Is this useful for you? You tell me. Let's go gold. This is your king, the king of anti-fiats, as stated by us. So there's your chart. There's your platinum. There's your copper. Now we need to take off the gold and change it to silver, because we lost our silver chart. There you go. So who of the precious metals, remember copper is a semi-precious metal, who by my rating is the most undervalued of the precious metals and had a unique narrative that crushed it during this period? Platinum. It's off a lower base. So in percentage terms, if it just went up as much over the last X many years as silver did, it would get here. Then it's only performed as well as silver. So that's my reasons. It's a thinner market, and in certain places you have a tax on it. Those are all things to consider. Of course, if you're in our community and you're buying through our partners on the US side and then vaulted somewhere safe and where you can collect it and hold it yourself, on a non-governmental, non-bank vaulting system by people I know and even shoot with that are very trustworthy. And as I say, you can go and collect at any time. You don't have to pay those taxes. If you're in the UK or Europe, you will pay a VAT, but so will you on your silver. So will you on your silver. So remember, silver is higher than the gold chart at the peak moves. It's probably since 1972 not so much the case. It's a tiny bit there. We never had a full bull market in 2011. I've always said that about the bull market. You never had a full bull market in 2011. It was a half-cast one that got cut. That's right. They put the reins on that bastard. There's your rising wedges melting up, friends. And isn't that a melt up? Boy, oh, freaking boy. And you're going to see the same here. So that's, if you're to do an assessment of undervaluation, technically, on the precious side, the brown line stroke coppery red one over here, maroon, is platinum and seems to be the lowest and had an incredibly distortive period that spanned more than a decade and a half. I call that suppression. More so even than silver, which many people believe has been suppressed, which could in the end, as I say, super spike them that they even go beyond gold. And gold's going up pretty straight. So have fun, precious metals fan. You've been patient, you've stacked, you've earned what's coming for you. Now talk less about it. Make sure you hide it real well. And remember, they're going to possibly come out and say, it's time for NFTs and everybody needs to register their assets for a fair and equitable society. We need to know what's out there. It's all about, it's like the man and the clipboard, only it's going to be digital. And then later they're going to say, we think you should be paying a bit of capital gains on that. And you should say, actually, this is not a capital gain. This has maintained its value. It's done nothing. It's paid no rent. It's paid no interest. In fact, it stayed exactly where it is. In fact, it's you that's done a debasement of my fiat and are now extracting illegally against me. And thereby I refuse, although I will register 1 ounce of my gold and I will have a boating accident for the rest. And I would love you to retrieve it, but I was over the Mariana Trench at the time in my dinghy. And that's the deepest part of the ocean in the world. And please retrieve it for me and I'll pay you a small commission. There you go. There's your solution. Good luck. Good luck to us all, because they're going to try bully you. They're going to make it super onerous on you. They're going to try tell you you'll go to jail if you don't register. We don't think you've registered. We're entitled to knock and drop and inspect for an equitable and fair society, that to ensure everyone is paying their fair share. Paying what, I ask? Paying what for your malfeasance, corruption, and debasement of fiat currency? This gold bar has laid no babies, has paid me no rent. Therefore, it is as it always was, and therefore has not gained in any function. I suggest your measuring stick, however, has shrunk somewhat in this game of debasement that you are proliferating against me and my fellow citizens. In short, I have this finger to show you. That's how it should go. That's how the conversation should go. It's not how it will go, I suspect. Because the man with a gun, the person who comes to your house in the name of the law, hence my point about legality and morality, will quickly show you who your leaders truly are and who thou doth not dare criticize. That is how the game shall go, my friends. That is how it shall go, I fear, for all of us. But you have time to think on these things. You have time to think on these things. What say ye to this their prediction of criminality, totalitarianism, Bolshevik communism, Marxism by all forms of agenda, suppression of the general citizenry? Do you say, I fear it is true? Or do you say, no, 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 a brighter world awaits us all? I don't know. You tell me. Yes, that they were not barbarians, says Bobby. Yeah. Morning from Toronto. Good to have you on board, Kayla. Good to have the ladies. It sounds like a lady. I don't want to misgender anybody here. We all know what a criminal offense that is, to do it in a public place. Kayla, I'm hoping you're a lady. I'm delighted to have your support. Thank you for hitting the like button. I know the girls always do. Hello from SA. Yes, Mr. Freeman with 3 3s. Capital gains taxes are coming to coin shops. Yep, and they have paperwork. Save us from the smart city gulag. Yeah, we're all trying to save ourselves from that eventuality. Any thoughts on Eastern Europe? Poland has been accumulating a lot of gold. Good luck, Poland. Probably less likely to get destroyed fiscally. Ciao from Ticino, Switzerland. Thank you. The Swiss. Sad I missed the pub meetup. Will there be a recording? I chose not to record there. I wasn't sure what to expect here in the United Kingdom. You get a lot of scary things about social media. Stuck in a hostel of ill repute in Liverpool. Well, you might be stuck on a planet of ill repute. Without the Beatles to cheer you up either. Good evening from Thailand. Hello, 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 Thailand. Well done. Thanks for checking in. Fool the algorithm for us. Nothing but black painted doorstops here, Francis. Exactly, exactly. And heavy ones. Wrap them up so that they don't track too much attention. But then they'll come around with their meters, you know, their beep, 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 beep things. They'll have super tech. They'll go, that black painted doorstop sure looks interesting. Imagine selling a coin to some guy, then going to the tax office to report it. Hello from Vietnam. Yes, Saigon. That's what I always think of Vietnam, but blessed Vietnam. Beautiful country, I'm told. I would like to visit. Ciao from New York. The New Yorkers are in the house. They're having a cup of coffee. Are you having a cup of coffee? Hello from Melbourne. Yes, beautiful city. I've missed that side of the island, and I'm told it's very metropolitan. Malaysia is in the house. We have 1,174 people and 705 have hit smashed. They have caressed the up thumb for the triggering event in gold. Sound members are in the house. If you're a sound money member who resist and reject and are resentful towards overspending governments that debase your currency, hit the thumbs up right now. Wales, the Wales, disgusting. They never played a Welshman in that first test, I have to say, especially one that deserved a place. Mr. Morgan, I'm talking about. Depends which part of New York. Hello from the Alps. That's a beautiful place to be saying hello from. Sunny Wales. Wow, that doesn't happen. That's a lie. Come on. Send pictures. Proof is required. Cheers from Hamilton. Hamilton, New Zealand, is it? Hello from California. Appreciate all your insights. Stack on. Come on, you Callies. Stack the gold. Stack the gold. Stack the gold. America is cooked. Destroy the light. Ken from Florida was there, was in Boca. It was hot as hell in summer. I tell you what, you run from aircon to aircon, but it was good fun. We had a great time. We did the boat cruise, kind of cool. There was a Rick Rules shindig. When America sneezes, the world catches cold. Yeah, I think everyone's going to be sneezing. Ring-a-ring-a rosies, a pocket full of posies. We all fall down. Not sure I like that. We're made to, we designed, I've referred to this as a leper colony, by the way. The leper colony of unsound money. You kiss the chief leper, you cheat and steal and defraud your citizens, and then you blow this country up to force it into a globalized, technocratic, Bolshevik, communist, fascist, and citizen-suppressing society. Prison planet, they said. Thank Francis for sharing. Pleasure, a learner. That's a good name. Keep learning. Glad you are doing this type of presentation. Need to get people to see this, or we are screwed, blued, and tattooed. Yep. Will Obama go to jail? I have no idea. It's a puppet show that I paid not too much attention. Unlikely. They're all criminals working together, and they deflect from Trump and the list that never was a list but got Bill Gates divorced. We all know. Greetings from Deutschland. I was in Deutschland. It was good fun. It was great. I was with Kai Hoffman. He's in Australia now. Good to see. And he is interviewing people that were also calling. We're not the only people that said this is a good setup. Others have said that there will be good things coming. They don't have HVF method, but they know a squeezy when they see it. They think it's a triangle. We know better. It's a triangle and more, but good shouts to all of them. Good analogy, Francis. Sound money advocates need some sort of secret handshake. Yep. Yeah, we got to suppress the anti-Masonic handshake. SVL and of ASX. I'm assuming that's a silver miner on an Australian company. I'm not taking it into miners. I don't want to over push people into the equity space yet. And also, by the way, you do a derivative trade on that. If you don't have the certificates, you don't own it. You don't hold it. 450 million short slammy, while JP Morgan analysts are saying 150 million ounces left in the London bullion market. Yep, there's some scary fundamental tales, but sometimes they've been around and nothing immediate has happened. One of these days they're going to mean something, and they will have run out of cheat loops. Hi from Sweden. Love it to have the Swedes in the house. Silver lease rates jumped. Yeah, that's the other thing that's, thank you for mentioning that, by the way. Clayton Rabenda. There's some other good guys. SD Bullion, I forget the gent's name. He was doing a YouTube on it. I want to pay him homage. Done some great charts. Someone passed me the name. He's got a US accent actually for SD Bullion, but I think SD Bullion based in Singapore mainly, but he does a YouTube, and he's done some great fundamentals, and he's started to throw out some stuff showing the fundamentals for platinum as well, in terms of what's needed, etc. And by the way, a quick little note on silver. Twice the new solid state batteries, twice the duration, much less charging time. They're going to be huge. Their need would take up 96%, the need for the silver in those batteries. Certain people are saying, I'm repeating, I haven't had the time to run the ruler on it and do the deep dive. That need alone, if the take up is at about 20%, would take 96% of the silver supply. And some people were actually saying there's no way the take-up would be that slow, because if you have a battery car, and there's now a battery technology that does twice the distance, twice the range, a fraction of the time to get up to 80%. I mean, they're going to go for it. And that's very control structure friendly. They want you all in iPad cars, frazzling your rectum on EMF signals that are literally burning a hole from barely half a foot under you. And that they can drive you into the local police station and just take control over it. So I would expect the catch-up rate on that outperformer batteries will be huge. Thanks for joining us on the podcast last year. You called for 2,550 bottom last November on the gold market. Was a good buying opportunity for the long-term investor. Glad you got in. Glad you make some good stuff. Minority Report style. Yes, there's a bit of that. Dystopian silver breakout left freak chic. Yeah, so let's have a final run past the chart and just say we put a stake in today. It was the day we triggered on a move that we say on balance of probabilities as a prediction, non-advisory, we think that something will do something. That's all we're doing. We're saying we're not telling anybody to do anything. We're saying something might do something, and that something is the sound money symbol, the king of anti-fiats. It is gold. And for the final time, I'll do a super quick run past the key charts to see where we are today, and we are assessing that the big mover, gold, has now broken out. We've got a number that is, let's get rid of this chart now. I'm going to say goodbye to all our relative friends. You can see that gold has been the king, actually, in all of these. Let's go back down to a 4-hour chart. So it's at just under 3,400, 3,391. And the reason we think it's a key moment is because it's taken out these lesser highs over here on a breakout very, very firmly. Remember, I don't think it's going to be a single line straight. I think you might get more unbelievably quick moves on platinum, possibly, and on silver. But we also warn that these kind of 3 impulse structures, you see you've got 3 distinct inside our bigger structure. So we've shown you the bigger one, but you actually have this. So it's kind of like that, but in a more of a rising wedge format. And that's all within our 3 impulse mega structure, which is, and this kind of is this whole thing here. This represents a key break. And our expectation is a 3,750 mark will be overshot and potentially some overperformance to the high side. How much that is, we can't quantify. And we'll see how our trading goes. So with that, we'll take a very short run past the silver to check in, and once more to the platinum, and then we will let you go. So XAG. By the way, don't forget, we have links below. If you want to support the channel, use them. You'll pay the same price as I do. Silver's accelerating. Wow, that's getting into quite sexy candle space. That's silver's in the breakout mode as well, friends. That's it. It's clear as crystal. A nice little move we'll be taking out, I think. Matter, of course, maybe not today, but during the course of this week, I would expect us to make a new high in this period. It's not an all-time high. And that could then trot you on mid-40s to that mid-40 to 50 range is where it gets interesting. Will we break 50 at the first asking? We'll see how we are approaching then, and we'll be discussing it in our community. Book a call, link below. If you are interested to be in a community of reset-focused people that are hell-bent on getting wealthier and being able to purchase themselves some freedoms in the future in what could be somewhat dystopian post-debt collapse world. So platinum for the final time. So we're almost at 39 on silver. We're at 38.90. Platinum for the final time is coming up. A little bit of a pushback on that one. Let's just see if we've got the right one. We'll have a look at a few. Yeah, a little bit slowed down, but I also would expect it to break out above the previous high over here. We've given you a 1,500 target where you might get a little bit of pullback, but we expect overperformance on that as well. So a tiny bit so far in this 4-hour, a little bit of a stop and think. You might get a little bit of a pennant set up in there. We'll see. Dropping down the time frame because there's a little squeeze there. So maybe a tiny bit of return move, but I would expect it to take that as part of this week at the moment. So silver possibly the most robust right now at the high end, but I wouldn't chase the top of a pole. Gold is doing well. All of these are in rude good shape. This was a key moment because the biggest of them all, gold, seems to have made his move. And that right there tells you that the precious metals complex is going to be in a stage of overperformance, typically on balance of probabilities, in our opinion. That's it, friends. I want to say thank you for all of you coming. Share the channel to others. If you want to hear more truth spoken to friends, you've got some people that need a little bit of de-norming, from normalization to actually understanding the great game that is coming our way, and you want to help wake them up, you can get them to watch. If they want to contemplate how we hope to build wealth out of this, they can sit and watch that. That way you're helping them. Share the channel and do all those other good things. Till next time, I thank you very much, and have a great day. Enjoy, and play safe. Remember, it's non-advice. Don't over leverage. You've got to survive this. The move will make you the money, not the leverage. If you happen to do anything, play safe, be smart, stay in the trade. And this could be a decade long, but it could also be over in a lot shorter time, but more violent than any time before it. Because this truly is the end of the leper colony. This is the debt-based collapse. And it is collapsing, friends. Okay, till next time, I salute you. Thank you for coming on. Bye for now.